Where are all the places you could get a bird's eye view? What would a bird's eye view look like to an ant? Okay, you see how I'm stretching a simple activity into many questions? All right, I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to be able to show you everything, but these cards go on and on with critical and creative thinking. They are absolutely really, really, really fun. And they are put out by Tin Man Press. And they're now online, folks, and they're like $2 to download each set of them. We have Dot goes to the beach, Dot goes to the basketball game, Dot goes to go swimming, all kinds of places. All right, one last thing. Pull out a key, grown-ups, okay? We're going to discover your key. Most of you should have a key. Okay. All right, these are 20 unusual thinking challenges. Okay? Take a look at your key. You may need it for some of these. We're not going to answer all of these, but I'm going to give you a flavor of what some of these are. These are Tin Man Press also, by the way. Why do we need keys? Can you think of all the possible answers? Okay, we're not going to do it. We're just going to talk about it. Sorry, kids. What's the first thing? We'll do this. What's the first thing you think of when you think of the word key? Quick. Say it out loud. Okay. Wow, some interesting answers, all right? You might want to follow up with why. What's the connection? Why are all keys different? Different locks, right? Yeah, take a look at the teeth on your key. Why are keys made out of plastic? They would break. I've broken metal ones in my ignition. How many of you have done that? I guess I'm pretty hard on my ignition. Why do keys have holes in them? Copy down all the writing you can find on a key. How many of you have actually looked at all the writing on your key to see you going, oh man, look at that, I never knew that. Okay? What are we teaching kids to do? Be observant and curious, right? Okay, just a couple more. Why is one part of the key much wider than the rest? Sequencing of events. After you put a key in a lock, what do you do next? Okay? Sequencing of events. And then there's a whole bunch more, and I'll leave them out if you want to look at them all later. A couple more things. And by the way, these work well kind of with all ages, including grown-ups. I taught a graduate class where I had graduate students do this because you know what, grown-ups? We have lost our sense of wonder. We have. First thing I did in my graduate class, sent them out for an hour with a clipboard, and they had to write all the things on campus that made them wonder. They wondered, first of all, if I was crazy. But they came back and said, holy cow, that was fun. Okay, so my tip to you, don't lose your sense of wonder. A couple last things. Junior grade books I've mentioned. Absolutely wonderful. This is the little kids version. But there are, at all grade levels, lots of school systems use them. You might want to ask, your school system may have them, or they may have them in mothballs somewhere. Great Thinking Skills Program. This is not a reading program, it's a thinking skills program. And finally, I love these because I love to watch adults deal with these and die. These are called Tanglers, Cooperative Problem-Solving Puzzles. There's always, I'll just show you a page. There's a page where you cut these pieces apart. You can laminate them if you want. Everybody on the team gets one or two pieces. And all the pieces fit together in a certain way, in a certain order, in order to solve the question. They all require math, and they all require cooperating to solve the problem. And they also have a few red herrings, things that don't belong in here, outliers, things that you don't need. So you have to be able to say, what do I need? What don't I need? What order do I put these in? Do the math and decide if your answer makes sense. Now, isn't that the problem-solving method in math when you think about it? I've had graduate students cry doing these. You said there was no math involved. Okay, so I've taken you on a tour of lots of materials, giving you lots of ideas for conferences. I said we'd look into classrooms. Did we do that? Did we look at materials? Did I give you conference ideas? All right, it's question time. Just a word of warning, I can't answer specific questions on any district of my own. I can answer generic questions, and one last thing, if you have a very private question, something that's close to your heart, but you don't want to bring it up in front of the group, I will stay afterwards to talk to you. Also, my contact information was on the first slide of the PowerPoint, and go to see the one page, find the PowerPoint, grab my card. I have some cards up here as well. I deal with a lot of parents around the state. I would say on average, I deal with 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 phone calls and emails from parents like you from all around the state that have questions about testing, counseling, behaviors. I've got one right now, a twice exceptional adult who wants to talk to another adult about being twice exceptional. Okay, questions? You know, if you quit now, you can go home and watch the debate. We don't want to do that. Yes.
How do you know whether your child's needs can be met in the classroom?
How do you know whether your child's needs are met in the classroom?
How do you know whether they can be? And if they're not being, is it because there's room for improvement, or how do you know when they're in the wrong classroom environment and they need to be upper grade? Or
wow, I wish I had a crystal ball and could tell you. I can tell you that sometimes kids give you symptoms, okay? Mm-hmm. They come home with tummy aches. You know, they don't want to go to school. Sometimes just a simple conference. For example, I had a 4th grader. Yeah, she's a 4th grader now. She's in a mixed multi-age 3-4. And her mom reported to me at the beginning of the year she's coming home with tummy aches and didn't want to go to school. This was not the little girl we knew. And so I asked a lot of questions, discovered that the first couple of months of school they were reviewing. Does this sound familiar? You know, we do that in schools. We spend some time at the beginning of the year to get past summer slump when some kids don't read or do anything. And this little girl felt like she wasn't learning anything new, and it was making her physically ill. A simple conversation with her teacher, who happened to be a brand new teacher, about some things that could be done, giving that teacher some tools. I gave her some tools, inviting that child to come across the hall and grab any books off my shelf that caught her attention, solve that problem just like that. I'd say you've got to talk to your child, and you have to talk to the teacher.
if you've done that, what happens?
Do you have some ideas of things that you would be willing to send to school? And I know that sounds terrible. Yeah, I'm thinking of when our kids were little. I'm going to talk about our youngest daughter. We knew that she was reading early. You know, she's the littlest kid. She had to keep up with her big brother and sister. Taught herself how to play the piano and all that kind of stuff, watching her big brother and sister. October birthday. So we decided that she could pick a project she wanted to work on in school if we could get her teacher's permission to let her do that. The answer was indubitably, send the stuff on, okay? She did a project on maple syrup. She had a little house in the big woods. They got really interested in the maple syrup part. Did a whole storyboard. You know, we didn't have fancy PowerPoint. She's 30 years old. We had that back then. And she was 5 at the time. Did a whole storyboard about making maple syrup, and then literally presented this all to her classroom. But we did some of the legwork. Our son, remember I said he was pretty bored there for a while. We sent a lot of tessellation stuff to school because he was interested in kind of the math and science that goes with art. And so he worked on a lot of that on his own time. So sometimes we've got to do that. You got to talk to the teacher, though. And if that teacher is not working for your child, then that's a conversation with the principal. But please start with the teacher. Please, please, please start with that. Other questions? Yes?
Do you have any suggestions for how to handle it if your child is really resistant to, say, acceleration? Like,
yeah.
Say like, I don't want to go to a different classroom for X, Y, or Z. I just, I want to stay in my same class with my friends.
Yeah. Is your child normally resistant to change or to risk-taking?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sometimes a trial period, like how about if you just try it for a week. Also, making sure that there's at least one kid that your child knows in that classroom, whether it's from the neighborhood or from scouts or whatever, because some kids really fear going into an environment where they don't know anyone. And the option can be, if this really doesn't work out and you really can't stand it, okay. The trick with kids is to know when to push